Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. What's going on, good people? Um, as always, let me know you can hear me. Let me know you can see me. And we can start it from there. And good evening to all of you who are in the chat room right now. Yeah, so let me know you can hear me. Oh, damn, excuse me. Let me know you can hear me and you can see me. And we get right on with it. Get right on with it. Let me do something real quick. Wait a minute, what is this? Okay. All right. All right, you say you can see, hear me fine. All right, cool. What's going on, Tina Pals? Hey, Juju, what's going on? Rolling Mile, what's going on, African Goddess? What's going on, dear? How you doing? Miss D, Lakeisha, hey, dear, what's going on? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Tanya M, Miss Cooley, hey, dear, what's going on with you? My brother Brian, what's going on, brother? Now, Gigi, hey, dear, how you doing? Good evening to you. Savage says, TCN, what's up, my friend? What's going on? I think that's all for now. Lily23, what's going on? Good evening to you. Curl Smith, how you doing, my friend? One of my favorite news reporters send me stuff, so I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Appreciate all of you. All right. All right. All right, guys. So this is a story I've been meaning to do, but been working, so I didn't really get a chance to when I wanted to. But I got time tonight. So let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? CLH, what's going on with you? What's going on with you? Ladies and gentlemen, feast your eyes over there with a spinning globe, bit. We're going to talk about this young fella here, Harry Kkonde. Harry Kkonde. We're going to go back, then we're going to go forward to the present, what's going on now. We're going to go to the beginning, we're going to go to the present. But as always, got to give you the meat and potatoes of what's going on. And the meat and potatoes is another child gone missing. Another child gone missing. Reported missing. And was found in a pond. Now, this is about the second or third story I done did, probably not with even a month's time, that I have done that a child has come up missing and they've been found in a pond. Now, I don't know what to make about stuff like that. I just know it's crazy. And each story I has done, to my regulation, one of the family members has came in the comment section. All right? And they don't throw no shade or anything. You know, I think a lot of family members who come to YouTube and see us talk about their child stories or talk about their story, period, they really appreciate us doing it. You know, some of them may not receive the message too well or how we present it, but nevertheless, you know, a lot of them do appreciate that we cover their stories, you know. And regardless of how hard it may hear or relive it, they do appreciate us doing a story. All right. So what we're going to hear with this story right here. He was at the babysitter's. If I'm not mistaken, he was outside playing in the backyard. And somehow, allegedly, he chose to wander off. Now, from my understanding of this story, what I gathered, they did look in the pond at first, but they didn't see him at first. But when they went back the next day, they found him in the pond. And I think a lot of people probably found that kind of strange. You know, you went to the pond one day, you didn't see him, but you come back to the pond the next day, all of a sudden that you see him. And one would tend to think, just on the outside looking in, just analyzing what they're hearing and what they're reading is, could it be a possibility that his body was placed there? Could his body have been placed there the next day for them to see? I don't know. Just a theory to be pushed out there. You know, but I believe they're going to mention it. I believe they're going to mention it that they did search the pond, but they didn't see him at first, but they see him like the next day or something, you know. So on the outside looking in, one would say that sound kind of weird. Did somebody place their boy there on purpose? You know, because they said the same thing like that happened to, what's his other child name? Something King. If that's the right story. They say the same thing was with him. It's something King. They searched over there by the pool. His body wasn't there at first. But then all of a sudden, his body shows up in the pool. At least that's how I remember what people was telling me about the story. Any one of y'all know who I'm talking about? The King, it's something King. What is his name? It's King, something King. It's something King. Oh, it's okay. It's Braylon. Sorry, Braylon. It's Braylon. Okay. Okay. I'm talking about King Hill then. Okay. I got the children mixed up. So it's Braylon I'm talking about. So is that Braylon? Is Braylon the one that was found in the pool? And I think they said with him, that's what happened. You know, in an apartment complex, they went by the pool. And that boy body wasn't there at first. Then miraculously, his body showed up in the pool. At least that's how the story was given to me. Okay, Juju saying yes. That's how I didn't get a chance to do Braylon's story, so I mean I don't know listen bits and pieces of it. But I do remember people were saying they did search the pool, his body wasn't there first. But then when they went back, all of a sudden his body showed up. That's some scary stuff right there. That's some scary shit. That's some Twilight Zone shit right there. All right? All right? So, and it sounds like it's, well, you know what? I'll let y'all hear for yourself. Let's start from the beginning where he went missing, and we're going to go all the way up to the present day today. All right? Let's hear it.
For that 3-year-old boy named Harry in Lowell. Ken?
David, this is Freda Lane in the Pawtucketville section of Lowell, overtaken by uniforms of every sort today. Now, that presence has scaled back dramatically in the last couple of hours, but police say with a little boy still missing, they'll stay out here all night. Tonight, we saw neighbors showing investigators their Ring doorbell video of unfamiliar cars that had passed by this morning just before 9:30 when the youngster vanished.
All you have to do is turn your head for a second, and kids can get away from you. It's unfortunate, but it does happen.
As it got dark, we spotted police as they debated draining one of several murky pools on the street. While not far away, state police dogs were summoned to a watery ditch tonight where a nearby resident thought they heard something, but searchers came up empty.
There's lots of bodies of stagnant water, so you got to pray for the best that he's around here somewhere.
The boy, who police have identified only as Harry, was reported missing by his babysitter from this house on Freda Lane, roughly 15 minutes after a neighbor saw the youngster playing in the backyard.
So based on the timeline, we're looking at a potential 15-minute window when the child was last seen by the time they called the police and then the police arrived.
When responding officers couldn't find the boy, more than 150 searchers from several departments were summoned to scour the neighborhood, the adjacent farmland, and the state forest that wraps around both. A massive effort. As a helicopter skimmed the treetops and some officers covered the rough terrain on the ground, others spent hours checking and rechecking the immediate neighborhood. Things like sheds, old cars under tarps, and even cars leaving the street. Every neighbor's house searched.
Yeah, it's been searched twice, so they're clearly taking it very seriously, which is great, but we're just wondering how far could a 3-year-old have gotten?
We heard that wondered aloud often by people clearly fearing foul play of some sort, but police seem steadfast in their belief.
I want y'all to hear what she just said, and that's something I always preach. That's something I always preach. How far does a 3-year-old go? How far does a 3-year-old go? And again, depending on how long he been going to this babysitter, if he never left the yard before, what made him choose this particular day to leave the yard? So whenever we do these stories about somebody coming up missing like this, I want y'all to keep those two things in your mind. How far they would have gone. And if they never had left the yard before, why would they pick this particular day to leave the yard? So I'm gonna say this again. Whenever y'all go listen to missing stories where children come up missing like that, always keep those two things in your head. Always keep those two things in your head. And I'm glad she said that.
That the boy's disappearance is not sinister.
Obviously, would have loved to have found the young man a long time ago, but we got to be positive for the family.
At this hour, there is no active search except when police respond to a specific tip, and there have been several of those. But the broader search effort will resume at 6:30 tomorrow morning. For now, live in Lowell, Ken McLeod, WBZ News.
All right, Ken, thank you.
All right, so that's when everything came to a head. That's when everything came to a head. When the story first hit. All right. Now, if I'm not mistaken, from what I read, you're going to hear something about a cornfield in the area. A cornfield in the area. All right. You're going to hear about that. But we're going to move along right now. And y'all know me. I love the police conference. So y'all don't mind. I want to play the first police conference that came out. And we want to see how everything led up to the events when he first came up missing.
We want to take you live to Lowell. Officials are holding a news conference about the search for a little 3-year-old boy who's been missing since this morning.
Control Chief for NEMLEC Operations and Deputy Superintendent Greg Udon from the Lowell Police Department. Thank you. So shortly after 7:15 this morning, child was dropped off at the babysitter's house, 37 Freda Lane. About 9:15 this morning, a neighbor had saw or observed the child in the backyard at 37 Freda. And about 9:30 this morning, the Lowell Police Department received a call regarding a missing or lost child. And ever since that time, the Lowell Police Department has been searching and looking for the child. As you can see, there's an enormous amount of assets that have been amassed to help look for and find this child, and we're going to continue those efforts until we do find the child. I'm going to refer to some notes regarding all the assets that are here today. First of all, the Lowell Police Department, the Lowell Police Academy. We have 50 to 60 recruits, cadets in the academy that we pulled from the academy to assist with NEMLEC regional response and pair up in teams to search the wooded area for the child. The Lowell Fire Department dive team. Of course, the NEMLEC, RRT, K9, IMAT, which is their incident management assistance team, and their bicycle patrols. Middlesex Sheriff's Department, bicycle patrols, personnel and equipment. Massachusetts State Police, helicopter, dive team, their mounted unit, which you can see behind us, their trucks, patrol and the Special Emergency Response Team, DCR, the Environmental Police, U.S. Park Rangers, Tingsboro Police Department and Fire, the Andover Fire Department, Dracut Police, UMass Lowell Police Department, EOPS in the Fire Marshal's Office, City of Lowell DPD, the City Manager's Office, Lowell General Paramedics, and Trinity Ambulance. In all, we're anywhere between 150 and 180 law enforcement and fire personnel searching for this child right now. It is a ongoing, active, continuous search, and we will continue. I'd like to have Chief Nix talk about any of the technicalities regarding the search and rescue efforts that we're looking at right now with NEMLEC. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Scott Nix, N-I-X, long and hard to spell. I am the Chief of Police in Sudbury, indeed, but I'm also one of the Assistant Control Chiefs for NEMLEC, the Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council. Chief Fisher is also on scene. He's down working. He is the control chief for our unit. He is down working the logistics and briefing with all personalities so that we can continue this search. We've conducted numerous searches so far and continue to conduct, as the chief indicated, canine searches. Right now, I don't know if you had seen it, but we're doing a extensive, call it line search, with probably 100+ personnel in that line of trying to identify areas that have already been searched, but search it more thoroughly. We do have numerous assets, ATVs, mountain bikes, canines, drones, and then the boots on the ground are really what kind of get it done. It's obviously a warm day. We're fortunate to be in the shade right now, but the troops are out there in the heat, and we appreciate their efforts, and we're hoping for a positive outcome as we go. Thank you.
Right now, we suspect nothing other than a missing or lost child. We're hoping that the child walked away and that the outcome will be that we find the child right now. There's been nothing to indicate anything but right now.
Tell us about the child. Is there any kind of language barrier, any issues?
No issues that we know of or that we've been confirmed, so.
Is the child verbal? Can the child talk?
That I don't know. There's been rumors out there that the child was nonverbal, but we have no confirmation on anything. So.
Do you know what he was doing outside?
At the babysitter's house, we don't know right now.
You said this is the babysitter's house. This is
If that is true, he was nonverbal. That, to me, that would kind of change the story around a little bit, because if he's nonverbal, then if somebody did do something to him, he wasn't able to say anything. You know, this is why I go back sometimes, guys, when I do these stories, 'cause I got to catch up myself. And I think I do remember somebody telling me that they think he is nonverbal. And y'all know how these stories go with these nonverbal children. Those are the ones that get punished the most, it seems. And they get punished the hardest because they can't say nothing. They can't defend themselves. All right? And a lot of people take advantage of them. They do. They tend to harm them the most for some reason. They're autistic, nonverbal, or disabled, period. Those are the main three that always get abused the most, if you ask me. So,
Babysitter's house is what we were told. It's not a daycare.
And were they playing outside, or where exactly was he last?
In the backyard.
So were they in the backyard playing?
Again, we believe the child was just out in the backyard where they normally would go out and play, but we're not sure if anyone was with them or not.
Are there any signs of carrying thus far? I know earlier there was the search going on with the dive team. Was anything found, any signs of carry in the water or anything else otherwise?
No, just as a precaution, any body of water around, and it is borders the state forest in some areas. Any pools, we've searched every backyard, every house that we could search. So we're trying to leave no stones unturned and make sure that we do our diligence. As Chief Nick stated, we've had assets, four-wheelers in the forest. We have the mounted unit, the horses, the bicycles, an enormous amount of assets searching, and we're going to continue. So a combination. Number one, it's going to be an extended type of search. Right now, that's what we're looking at. We have a vast forest where the child could. There were bodies of water that's in the forest as well. So we have to make sure that we do have enough assets and enough personnel to dispel them and relieve them should something be prolonged.
Do you have how big is the area where you're looking? Do you think there's a certain distance that a child that age and that physical ability could get?
Chief Nick?
So, I mean, we are concentrating in the general area that's around us, but we would ask any viewers to keep in mind that we're looking for a 3-year-old. If he is out there wandering, we would hope that those would call in. Obviously, you can hear the State Police Air Wing. State Police has their assets in place as well. But we're trying to methodically go where the evidence is driving us as far as where he was last seen, and then kind of expand out from there. But I don't know, it's a pretty vast area. As the chief indicated, there's lots of different topographical dynamics within that area that we need to make sure that we're covering. Hence why we're doing a line search to any area to just double check. We've already been through these areas, but we want to just double check and do it, as you pointed out, because it is a 2-year-old. But we do this, we've been to Lowell before, whether it's a tenured resident or a 2-year-old, and anywhere in between. That's what NEMLEC is for, and we come and augment, and as well as the other agencies that the chief mentioned. I always remain positive. So I always try to remain positive. Obviously, would have loved to have found the young man a long time ago, but we got to be positive for the family, and we got to be positive for a young life, and until.
Lakeisha, African Goddess. I want to say, ladies, I thank you for saying what you're saying, because it is hard for me to believe it as well, that children just wander off, especially that young. It's kind of hard for me to believe that, unless this could possibly have happened. If they do wander off, maybe it's an area that the grown-ups had took them there multiple times. So if the adults had took them there multiple times, then they have picture memory or where to go to get to that particular spot. That's the only way I can see it. But if this young fella didn't know anything other than the same spot he would normally be in and playing in the backyard, you just have to, again, ask what would make him all of a sudden just go further than where he usually have been going. All right? But maybe later on in this story, as I progress, because right now we still listen to the beginning, we're going to get into the heavy stuff right after this. Unless it's going to say in the story something otherwise happened. Because I want y'all to listen to what the police said. It may be something and it may not be nothing. Did y'all hear what he said in the beginning? I hope he wandered off. I hope he just wandered off. So really, at that time, they did not know. Now, again, a lot of y'all may look at that as something. Many of y'all may not look at that as nothing. But this is one of the reasons why I like the police car, because a lot of times I listen to what they say and I listen to what they don't say. And when he said that, that really caught my attention. I hope he just wandered off. So by him saying that, I'm going to assume that he thinks, I don't know, now I just don't believe no 3-year-old just will wander off like that. But however, though, on the other side of that coin, it is a possibility that, yes, when you turn your head, stuff can happen within a heartbeat. It can. But however, though, in a nutshell, I just really find that hard to believe that they just walk off like that. And then especially a 3-year-old or 2-year-old or younger see water. Not that I can recall. I never seen no 2-year-old just jump in water like that. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe y'all have. I never seen a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, anything like that, see water that they unfamiliar with or water, a puddle of water, period, and just dive off in there. Now, if it's a puddle of water they can stomp their feet in, then yeah, of course they're going to do that because, you know, that's their way of playing. But if they go into an area where there's a large body of water, I never known too many children that young just dive up in the water. I don't. I don't. You know, so I don't know. I don't know. So I'm glad y'all say that because I find it kind of hard to believe too. It's kind of hard to believe. Now, as I'm saying that it's totally impossible, no, I'm not saying it's totally impossible. Maybe it can happen. But how often does they really happen though? You know, so I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I don't know.
You know, dynamics change. We're going to keep proceeding that same positive path.
And how is the family holding up?
So the family is concerned. Again, I don't want to get, as the chief said, I don't want to get too much into dynamics of the family or the child or anything because we're considering all levels of what might have transpired, and I would not want to see anything jeopardized in that search or ensuing investigations. There is no indication of that at all, but we just need to be cognizant of that, that's all.
And the timeline, you said the child was last seen in the backyard about 9:15 and reported missing at 9:30, so, I mean, how quickly did this child escape you or possession of the baby?
So based on the timeline, we're looking at a potential 15-minute window when the child was last seen by the time they call the police and then the police arrive and then begin to amass some personnel to begin a search. And we were lucky today. We even had more personnel on. We had some extra personnel working the day shift, and they were sent right up to the scene, and we started searching the woods, used our canine, and then called for our partners.
Is the family from Lowell? Is the child actually from Lowell?
The child is from Lowell.
And we saw crews going into the neighbors' properties, looking under vehicles, boats, everything. Talk about that response from the neighbors, from the community in opening their doors and being a part of that search.
Absolutely. I do want to thank all the neighbors, all the people in the neighborhood. They've opened their doors. People have been delivering water. They've been assisting emergency personnel all day long. So everyone has been totally helpful to the police and the fire personnel, and we appreciate it.
Somebody said, who is the, it is what it is. You said your grandson is autistic. He's attracted to water. And then I thought about that too. Which one of y'all just said that? They said that, yeah, autistic children are usually kind of attracted to water. Who just said that? Sarah just said that. Hey, Sarah, what's up? They said children who are autistic tend to be drawn toward water. I wonder if he had. And again, guys, and I'm glad y'all talking about that. Thank you. It is what it is. I'm glad you said that. And thank you, Sarah, for saying what you said, because here's the thing. Y'all heard earlier, it's a possibility. We don't know yet. He was nonverbal. All right? Keep that in mind always. They saying, a rumor has it, he's supposed to be nonverbal. He's supposed to be nonverbal. So now, since y'all ladies are saying that in the chat room, and him being nonverbal, I'm assuming that's a form of autism. I believe, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that is a form of autism. So if that is the case, then according to what I'm seeing, what you ladies saying in the chat room, this may be a story where he might just have wandered off. It's just a tragic accident. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. We got 41 in the building. Appreciate you, 41 people. Y'all don't mind. Y'all hit that thumbs up for your boy. Appreciate y'all being here. And don't be afraid. Come out and share your thoughts. And tell me what y'all think about this or whatnot. All right? But let's continue.
Church of the Nazarene has been more than accommodating in terms of providing shelter now, water, and facilities for all law enforcement and fire personnel. So.
Did you ever issue an Amber Alert? Do you plan to? Is there a need for that?
So there's nothing, again, to indicate that there was any foul play involved in this right now. So until a time that may come or may not come, then we wouldn't do that.
Is there a time at which this person will be suspended? Are you raising next deadline? What are the parameters?
We're not going to say any time right now. We're going to search as long as we can and as long as we need to, and hopefully we'll be able to locate the child. So the reverse 911 was obviously more to alert all the people that we did have a missing child and that all the resources that they're seeing in the neighborhood is for that. And we haven't received any tips from anyone to this point. Excuse me.
So the babysitter was the last person to see the child?
The neighbor. A neighbor that saw the child in the backyard at 9:15.
Was the child alone when the neighbor saw the child?
I don't have that information. I just would, we have the...
I want y'all to hear that. I want y'all to hear that. Listen to what they're saying now. And again, this could be something or it could be nothing. She asked him, was the babysitter the last person they seen him? He said it was the neighbor. Say what? She asked him, was the babysitter the last person they seen him? He said it was the neighbor. Now, if I heard that right, it sounds like somebody wasn't paying attention. All right? It sounds like somebody wasn't watching their child like they supposed to. Now, if I heard what he said correct, the neighbor was the last one to see him, but the story is saying that he was with the babysitter. Now again, there could be something or it could be nothing. It could be nothing. But I'll go back. Make sure I heard it right.
To this point. Excuse me.
The babysitter was the last person to see the child?
The neighbor.
I heard it right. She said, so was the babysitter the last person seen her? He said the neighbor. He said the neighbor. That's what he said. Okay, that's what I heard. She asked him, So the babysitter was the last one to see him. The neighbor. Now, I want y'all to understand, this is why I love listening to the police conference. This is why. Because when they had these conference and the question that's being asked, well, with me with these headphones, I can hear everything loud and clear. And plus, how my system set up, I can hear loud and clear without the headphones. But of course, when you got on ear pods and stuff like that, you can hear like little stuff that you may have missed because a lot of headphones got noise reduction. So you could probably hear little stuff that if you just listen it straight out, you may miss it. But if you got earphones and stuff and they good one, you'll catch that little stuff that's been said. You'll catch that little stuff that's been said. Now, I'm going to do it one more time.
So the reverse 911 was obviously more to alert all the people that we did have a missing child and that all the resources that they're seeing in the neighborhood is for that. And we haven't received any tips from anyone to this point. Excuse me. And the neighbor. A neighbor that saw the child in the backyard at 9:15.
The neighbor saw the child in the backyard at 9:15. All right.
I don't have that information. I just would, we have everything out on social media. We hope that if anyone does see the child, anything at all, to notify the Lowell Police Department, call 937-3200 or 911 immediately, and we will respond and look for any tips or any leads that we can. So thank you very much.
This is a 3-year-old boy, small legs, couldn't have gone very far. If you look at the ring video from the people, anyone spotted this child on like their home security.
Our detectives are researching everything right now, have been doing interviews, looking for video, and again, we're working on everything that we can. So it's an ongoing, active investigation right now. Thank you.
If I might just add something real quick too. As residents come home from work, from doing their errands, from doing other things, that you take a look very, very thoroughly through your vehicles that may have been there, through your sheds, through window wells, through your houses, just in the event that he happened to wander in those different locations, okay? But we just ask, because you're the eyes and ears. As the chief mentioned, the community really came together. I was here and people were all coming out and offering to help search, and we very much appreciate that. But we do ask, when you come home, could you please thoroughly check your locations so that we can be those eyes and ears and extension of our resources. Thank you.
All right. So again, guys, what we just heard right there was the first conference with everything first hit. This was the first conference. Now, of course, y'all know he has been found. They found him the next day, I believe, and they found this young fella body in the pond. All right. But again, I'm stuck on that right there. I'm stuck on that. The babysitter wasn't the last person to see him. It was the neighbor. And the time, I'm assuming they mean 8 a.m. I mean, I'm hoping they think a.m., but they never said p.m. or a.m. That's another thing we may miss. We may have missed. When he said 9:15, was they talking about a.m. or p.m.? But I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's a.m. because if he had the babysitter house, not usually they be there in the morning time. All right. Unless you just work at night and you got somebody who do babysitting at night, then I get you talking about night. But then again, the 3-year-old, what are you doing outside at 9:15 at night? What a 3-year-old doing out at 9:15 at night? So I'm just gonna go on a limb and say they meant morning, 9:15 in the morning. But Steve, with that being said, though, how is it that the neighbor is claiming they the last one to see the baby instead of the babysitter supposed to be the last one to see him? Again, there could be something, or it could be nothing. Who knows? But however, though, something tells me once everything get to rolling, once they do their investigation, they're gonna come back up. I believe that's gonna come back up about the neighbor was the last one that seen them alive. That's gonna come back up. Because how we taking it on the outside looking in, let me say this, on the outside looking in, how we taking it is, if the neighbor was the last one to see him, then that means the babysitter had her eyes off of him for quite some time. All right? Or then again, to be a little fair, maybe a couple of minutes. Who knows? But however, if the neighbor was the last one to see him, then they mean the babysitter didn't see him. So what was the babysitter doing at the time that the neighbor was the last one to see him at 9:15? What was the babysitter doing? What was the babysitter? Says grandma. Oh, goddamn. Excuse me. Says grandma, what's going on? Egyptian Star Girl. Hey, my love. How you doing, dear? How you doing? Miss Joel Jackson. How you doing, my friend? Sarah H. 11, what it do? All right. Oh, Mom 420. Hey, my friend, what's going on? What's going on? Appreciate y'all. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All right. We got 47 in the building. Y'all don't mind, hit that thumbs up for your boy. We almost got 50 in the building, Appreciate you. All right. So we got past the beginning. And now we're finna go into the present. We're finna go into the present, people. So maybe the present will give us more details what may or may not have happened. And we're going to start off with this.
A growing makeshift memorial now sits by the road near the pond where 3-year-old Harry Kkonde's body was found.
I have children myself, and I just feel bad for little Harry.
After a second day of searching on horses and by boat, a dive team found the little boy in the water about 650 feet from the babysitter's home where the child was last seen.
We're torn apart.
A family friend says even as the hours passed, his family desperately held on to hope that Harry would still be coming home.
The child is gone. We feel empty. We don't even have the words to express how we feel. But we're praying for the mother because she's pregnant. We're praying.
Because she what? Did you say the mom is pregnant? Yeah, okay. Prayers with, what's up, my Memphis buddy? What's going on with you? The mom is pregnant, huh? Wow. Yeah.
We're praying that she gets solace somewhere.
Investigators say Harry's parents...
We feel. But we're praying for the mother because she's pregnant.
She's pregnant.
We're praying that she gets solace somewhere.
Investigators say Harry's parents dropped him off at a babysitter's home on Tuesday morning here on Freda Lane. Around 9:15, a neighbor saw him in the yard. 15 minutes later, the babysitter called 911 after realizing he was gone.
He's just a humble child, very sweet.
Okay. All right. We heard that. The neighbor saw it 15 minutes later. So I think we just got our question answered that, yeah, this babysitter, if we hear it right, her eyes was not on this boy for 15 minutes. 15 minutes. 15 minutes is an awful long time for anything to happen to these children. That's a lot of time for you not paying attention. 15 minutes. Man.
The Middlesex County District Attorney says firefighters had checked the pond near Rollie's tree farm where Harry was found on Tuesday about an hour and a half after he was reported missing, but didn't find him there at the time.
It's horrible. I don't cry too much, but boy, it was a shock. It was a shock. I mean, I never would have thought that they were going to find this kid in my pond.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.
15 minutes. Man, that's. But again, guys, what they say, the neighbor was the last one that seen him. The neighbor was the last one that seen him. Not the babysitter, but the neighbor was the last one that seen him. And 15 minutes later, the babysitter called 911. Yeah. It's beginning to sound a little suspect. It is. Yeah, 15 minutes is a mighty long time. All right. So, of course, they did another conference about when he was found. So let's hear where this goes. All right. Let's go.
As many of you know, yesterday morning around 9:30, Lowell Police Department received a call indicating that 3-year-old Harry Kkonde, who had been staying at a house on Freda Lane in Lowell and had been seen just a short time before in the backyard of that home, could not be located by the people who were caring for him. Lowell police responded within a very...
The people who was caring for him. The people. Not person, people.
A short period of time, many other agencies and assets joined them, and a search was conducted, an extensive search of that area. The police were able to confirm that a neighbor had seen little Harry at just about 9:15. He was in the basement of his home. When he came back, after having seen him outside and did not see him, he inquired as to where he had gone. That's what triggered people realizing that he was no longer in the vicinity of the house, and that call was made to Lowell Police. That search continued till about 10 o'clock last night, resumed early this morning. Tragically, at about 10 after 1 this afternoon, Harry's body was located in a pond adjacent to Rollie's tree farm. That pond is located about 650 feet straight from the house, if you traveled in that direction.
650 feet from the house. 650 feet from the house. Now, Juju said that's not that far. She said it's not that far. Let's continue.
I want to be clear that we have no idea how Harry came to reach that pond, where he might have been, or how long it might have taken him to reach that pond. His body was found close to shore in about 5 feet of water. He was clothed in the clothes he had last been seen in, and there was no indication of external trauma. That pond was searched at about 11 o'clock yesterday morning by Lowell Fire Department. Obviously, Harry was not located in that area. And I want to again emphasize, we do not know where he was from the time he went missing until he was located in the pond today, or where he may have been walking. If many of you have been down in that area, you know it's a very rugged, some very rugged terrain there. The approximate full area which was searched was about 4.7 square miles. And it was searched using a variety of assets which Superintendent Goldner will speak to: horses, dogs, dirt bikes, a number of types of vehicles we used to cover that terrain. This is obviously every parent's worst nightmare. A child who disappears for a very short period of time, the excruciating hours of the search, and then the recovery of his body. This is clearly not the result that anyone over these many hours of search would have anticipated or wanted to have occurred. We are incredibly grateful to everyone who assisted in this search, to everybody who provided support for the searchers. And obviously our thoughts and hearts are with the family who lost this child. We have several other speakers that will address you briefly, and then we'll come back and take a few of your questions. Superintendent Goldner.
Thank you, Madam District Attorney. My name is Barry Goldner, and I'm the interim superintendent for the city of Lowell. Thank you all for coming. Our thoughts and prayers on behalf of the Lowell Police Department and the city of Lowell go out to the family on this tragic day. I would like to say that the outpouring of support from the community, from the city of Lowell, from our partners at City Hall, our Mayor, Sakari Chow, our manager, Tom Golden is here, as well as our counselors. John Leahy is here as well. The support from the neighborhood, from the parishioners at the church here, they continue to help. There was outpouring from nurses. Everyone wanted to help in the search. It was an amazing outpouring of support for everyone, and we appreciate that. And again, on behalf of the police department and the city, our thoughts and prayers go out to the family. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Scott Nix. I'm one of the control chiefs for the NEMLEC organization. Our condolences go out to the family, as well as the Lowell community and everybody that assisted today, to include all the first responders and other officials. We very much appreciate it. There was over a couple of hundred first responders for today, in collaboration with federal, state, and local authorities, in order to try to locate Harry with unfortunate circumstances. As the district attorney indicated, about 4.7 square miles were conducted over and over, duplicating efforts from yesterday and today, to just make sure we're recovering every parcel that we could with the best information we had. But again, we appreciate the efforts of everybody, and our condolences. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Scott Warmington. I'm the Deputy Superintendent of the Massachusetts State Police. On behalf of Colonel Christopher Mason, we'd like to thank the men and women of the Massachusetts State Police, our law enforcement partners, and the hundreds of people who have searched tirelessly over the last 2 days, but on land, by air, and in the water, to bring Harry home. Our thoughts are with the family.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joe Bonavolanta, and I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Boston Division. And whenever there is a missing child, it's an all-hands-on-deck affair throughout local, state, and federal law enforcement. And that was the case over the last 30-plus hours. From the FBI's standpoint, immediately upon request, we produced resources from our Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team, as well as several other technical assets and resources, and intelligence and investigative assistance as well. Obviously, there was a tragic outcome here, and on behalf of the FBI Boston Division, I would just like to offer our heartfelt condolences to Harry's family. Thank you.
We'll take a few questions. We don't know where he went when he left the house. I want to emphasize that. So even though the pond is located on a straight line from the house, we don't know where he went or where he may have traveled or what time he might have arrived back by that pond area. We just don't know that.
And see, that right there alone, that's suspect too. That alone is suspect as well. Okay? That alone is suspect.
Right. They were researching. As the colonel just indicated, places were being searched again, because we know that he was likely on the move through some part of the time that he was missing. So we were checking and rechecking to see if he might have gone to a place that we had already searched. He wasn't there, but he might have then been in a place. They were rechecking all of those places this morning.
Just explain how he left the house
he was being watched by the babysitter, and the babysitter lost sight of him?
Apparently, he was outside. At some point, he was seen outside by the neighbor, and at some point, then the neighbor noticed he wasn't there and made inquiry as to where he had gone. And that
he asked her, I mean, pretty much what happened with the babysitter. Did the babysitter lose sight of him, or what happened? And see, that's gonna play a major part in this story. You know, how is it the neighbor was the last one to see the child, but the babysitter wasn't? Or how about this? For what we understanding, the neighbor was in the basement, so I guess he saw him when he was in the basement. So the neighbor, I guess he's saying he was in the basement for like 15 minutes, but when he got from the basement, he didn't see the child again. Now, on the outside looking in, two things could have possibly happened. Maybe the child went into the house. All right, maybe he went into the house at that time and probably stayed in the house for a little while, and maybe he was led down there to the pond. Or the neighbor didn't see the adult or whoever that's supposed to be watching this boy come out the house and still led him down to that pond. All right? Because y'all heard what they said earlier. They said that terrain out there is kind of rough. And somebody just said, usually children ain't gonna walk towards the wind. Well, I don't think I did either, not that I can recall, but hey, I'm 42, so I can't remember that. I can't remember that far back. But again, still, let's look at this. How long has he been going to this babysitter? 2, if he's used to playing in the backyard and he always been in the backyard playing, then the question would have to be, what made him wander off this particular time if he never done it? Then you gotta go to 3. Did he actually know it was a pond back there? All right. Then we gotta go to number 4. The nonverbal part, which a couple of you said autistic children are attracted to water. So if he is nonverbal, then again, that's part of autistic, I believe. And maybe he knew there was water back there and he just decided to go back there one day because maybe he was attracted to water. But again, they said the pond was 650 feet back there. Now, Juju said that's not that far. Maybe for not us adults, but a 3-year-old, I don't know. You would think that'd be kind of far for him to walk, 650 feet. So, the more I'm hearing this conference right here, the more that this story is sounding more strange. And I'm finding it hard to believe that he'll just walk off and go towards a rugged terrain, let alone if he see water, he just gonna step in the water. Now, did y'all hear what they said earlier? When they found him, he's at the shallow part of the water. He was at the shallow part of the water. They searched the pond day prior. They didn't see him. The next day, around 1 o'clock, he turns up at the shallow end of the pond. Now again, there may be something, or there may be nothing. I don't know. But the more they talking, the more fishier this story sounds. All right? Athena, thank you, because I said that in the beginning of the show. The only way I can see that he may wander off back there is if they have took him back there several times and he got used to the area and he got the picture photographic memory to go back there and he know that water is back there. That's the only way I can see it, especially that far. He's been taken back there quite a few times. And it's registered in his mind where that pond is. But still, even that though, if he know what that pond is, depending on when they took him back there, and they let him play outside, and he never eloped to that area, the question still remains, what made him do it this particular day? Even though he know that it's back there, but he never eloped to that area. What made him choose today or that particular day to say, hey, I want to scurry on over to the pond? That question right there would still be remained. What would make him do this particular day?
That seems to have been what sounded the alert that he had wandered off.
Would the babysitter face any charges?
It's too soon in the investigation to know any of that.
Can you talk about the effort from the community all night last night and today? This has been a huge weight on this neighborhood. Officers, neighbors. Talk about just how significant this was.
You know, as I said before, I think this is every parent's worst nightmare. Everybody who's ever had a toddler is in terror of that toddler wandering off. And really, I think taking that to heart, so many people came out last night either to offer to help in the search, to offer support to the folks who were searching in the form of food and water. Very gracious in terms of we were going through people's yards, searching their houses, their sheds, their cars, any place that a little person could be hiding. People were incredibly gracious and responsive. The church that we're here at, folks from this church, made and served food for people, provided help for people all night.
Was this dive team down in the pond that finally located him?
Yes, the state police divers were in there this morning and they located him.
So is it easy to sort of miss him one day and then find him the next day? Anything?
I suppose anything is possible, but he wasn't located there yesterday, very shortly. So the divers were, the Lowell Fire Department was in that pond around 11 o'clock yesterday, which was pretty close after.
Yeah, okay, y'all just heard it. Y'all just heard it yourself. He wasn't there yesterday. He wasn't there yesterday. Y'all just heard it yourself. He... I don't know.
He went missing. But then obviously he was gone for a very long day. Very people all night.
Was this dive team down in the pond that finally located him?
Yes, the state police divers were in there this morning and they located him.
So is it easy to sort of miss him one day and then find him the next day? Anything?
I suppose anything is possible, but he wasn't located there yesterday, very shortly. So the divers were, the Lowell Fire Department was in that pond around 11 o'clock yesterday, which was pretty close after he went missing. But then obviously he was gone for a very long time, and we don't know where he was.
So we're just taking a second opportunity to search that pond. Wasn't something somebody noticed, like a drag or anything like that?
Many, many places were searched and researched because as he was moving, the searchers were moving. And they were checking and rechecking to make sure he hadn't gone into any of the sheds, the cars, anything that was outside.
Were there footprints? Some of the volunteers said they saw footprints.
There was discussion about a footprint. There were obviously many, many people in there. Many, many people, some the parents of little people, came to help. So there probably were many footprints out there.
Do you believe that he was wandering around, or is there an investigation into what was happening in that unaccounted time, possibility for abduction or anything?
We were considering all of those options, and we will continue to do so as the investigation moves forward. Right now, we don't have any information as to where he went during that period of time, or what path he might have been traveling.
You know how big of the pond was, like in size, length? You said it was 5 feet deep.
No, he was in about 5 feet of water. Yeah, yeah.
Right now, nothing appears to be sinister about what happened in terms of how we got away, how we ended up there. Nothing, no foul play.
Well, obviously, it's very early in the investigation, and to this point,
he asked the right question. He said, you know, about anything sinister, you know, somebody lead him there, or foul play, anything like that. Is it something sinister? Good. That's a good question. That is a good question. Her response is too early to say. It's too early to say. All right. It's too early to say. But I'm glad he asked that. Is there something more sinister going on? Did somebody put him there, or whatnot? I'll go back again, but he asked the right question, and I hope somebody will ask that question.
We were considering all of those options, and we will continue to do so as far as anything that was outside.
Were there footprints of the volunteers that
There was discussion about a footprint. There were obviously many people in there. Many people. Some, the parents of little people, came to help. So there probably were many footprints out there.
Is it still believed that he was wandering around, or is there an investigation into what was happening in that unaccounted time, possibility for abduction or anything?
We were considering all of those options, and we will continue to do so as the investigation moves forward. Right now, we don't have any information as to where he went.
Flaw, it's funny you just came in and said that, because that's what she just asked. She said nobody's seen him wandering around. Nothing, no report about a boy wandering around, anything like that. You know, she just asked her that, and this is what she responded to that right there. That's what she responded to.
During that period of time, or what path he might have been traveling.
Do you know how big of the pond was, like in size, length? You said it was 5 feet deep.
No, he was in about 5 feet of water. Yeah.
Right now, nothing appears to be sinister about what happened in terms of how we got away, how we ended up there.
Anything appears to be sinister in terms of how did he get away.
Nothing, no foul play.
Which obviously it's very early in the investigation, and to this point, all of our efforts have been focused on locating him. In the days ahead, we will obviously be looking at all of those things.
Is it still your understanding they had mentioned this morning in a press conference, he literally opened the front door and walked out?
Yes.
Just away from the eyes of anybody.
Yes. All right.
So what are the next steps, Marian? You mentioned it's too early to talk about potential criminal charges for the babysitter. What happens today, tomorrow?
We'll continue to have conversations. Obviously, we'll be awaiting information from the medical examiner, although, as I indicated, there was no sign of external trauma. He was clothed in the clothing that he was last seen in. We'll continue to gather information. We will shift our focus from finding him to finding out what happened. Thank you. I'm sorry? I'm not certain if they've been up there yet. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Yesterday, did the canvas dogs ever get a scent yesterday?
Did the dog, I see a couple of y'all said that in the chat room, did the dogs ever get a scent of him yesterday? Her response is what?
My understanding is there were lots of things that they were following at different points. Obviously and tragically, that wasn't successful until this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who's helped out, police officers, and these people. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Wow. Very interesting situation here. A very interesting situation. I don't know, guys. What say you? What it sound like to y'all? What say you? Is it possibly that it's probably one of those situations that he did just get away and he just went too far and he got in the water? Or is there something more sinister going on and we just have to wait till it comes out? But you know, one thing I noticed they didn't say in this interview right here, and I don't think they said it in the last one. They not talking about the babysitter much. They not talking about the babysitter much at all. I peeped that. They not mentioning anything about the babysitter much at all. And maybe because they waiting on the autopsy report, I don't know. But I noticed in both of these interviews I played, they have not said much about the babysitter. Mm. So I find it odd, but then again, like I said, maybe they went on the autopsy report to start bringing that stuff up. I don't know, but like I said, his grandma said, I mean, regardless of what, I mean, really, you really look at it, this is negligence. Negligence. This is negligence. Neglect. Okay? This is neglect. So I'm sure that's going to play a part in this story somewhere. The neglect of it. Because according to what we heard, the babysitter was the last one that seen him. It was a neighbor. Unless when they come out with more details, and it is true that the babysitter may have something to do with his disappearance, then yes, of course, Daddy was the last one that seen him. But another thing that got me to, y'all heard the beginning. Y'all heard at the beginning, they said the people who was watching him. The people, not person, the people who was watching him. That struck me too. So when you say people, it must be more than one person. Maybe it's a married couple. Maybe it's a boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't know. But they said people who was watching him. So you got multiple people. In this case, they're supposed to be watching this fella. You know. Where is everybody at? Where is everybody at? If it was peoples, where was everybody at? Oh, excuse me. Harry Kkonde, a missing 3-year-old Lowell boy, was found dead in shallow water. Now, they say that pond was 5 feet deep. He was found in shallow water a day after he was reported missing from his babysitter's home, and a massive search was launched. Harry's body was discovered Wednesday afternoon, more than a day after he went missing from the house on Freda Lane in Pawtuckerville section of the city Tuesday. He was found by a state police dive team in a pond at Ronald Perrin's farm, not far from the home in Lowell. I don't cry too much, but boy, it really was shock, Perrin said. I never thought that they were going to find this kid in my pond. Oh, it's his pond. All right. The pond had been searched Tuesday and Harry was not located. Keep that in mind. They searched for him the day before. He wasn't located. A day later, police were rechecking areas because the boy was believed to be on the move. He was wearing the clothes he was last seen in and found in about 5 feet of water. There were no signs of trauma on his body. Now, this is obviously every parent's worst nightmare, Middlesex District Attorney Marian said on Wednesday. The boy's parents mourned they lost with other Ugandan immigrants Wednesday night. We had the hope that he was going to come home alive, said family friend Marian Kalimba. It was so devastating to know that Harry just ended in that pond. Dozens of people gathered near the farm Wednesday night, leaving balloons and flowers of vigils being planned for Thursday night. Family members described Harry as a humble, quiet boy who often stuck close to his mother's side. They say they will ask the community to help them with his burial costs, just like they helped with the search to find him. We feel empty. We don't have any other words to express how we feel. Investigators said Harry was dropped off at the babysitter home Tuesday morning, A neighbor saw him playing in the yard at 9:15 a.m. About 15 minutes later, the babysitter called 911 to report Harry missing. So the neighbor seen him at 9:15. 9:30, the babysitter called 911 and reported Harry missing. We talk about 15-minute increments, people. 15-minute increments. He was last seen at 9:15, and at 9:30, 15 minutes after, that's when the babysitter called 911. Increment. 9:15, 15 minutes later, he's missing. Hmm. But again, the neighbor was the last one that seen him. 15 minutes later, nobody else seen him. All right. We have a very narrow window on when he went missing. Police Chief John Fisher, the incident commander for the Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council Regional Response Team, told reporters Wednesday morning. Fisher said this was Harry's 5th visit with the babysitter. He's been with the babysitter 5 times. Y'all remember earlier I kept stressing that. How long he's been going to this babysitter. So it must not have been that often. They said this was his 5th time going to the babysitter. Fifth time. Get this. And that it appears he walked out the door on his own. The babysitter was also watching one other child at the time, Fisher said. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So this person was watching 2 children. Let me go back and see something real quick. I was trying to see that they give a timestamp on when he was actually dropped off. But they don't have a timestamp when he got dropped off. He was dropped off at the babysitter's home Tuesday morning. A neighbor saw him playing in the yard at 9:15. Depending on what time he got dropped off, these times seem kind of close. But that's depending on what time he was actually dropped off. Usually with babysitters, I know sometimes it could be early as probably like 5:45 or 6 or something like that. Because I remember when my sister, when she was a baby, when she had to go to work, my mom had to go to work. I had to take the babies. I used to have to take her to the babysitter probably around about 6:30 or something like that, because I had to go to school. So around about 6:30 or something like that. But I guess at the same time, it all depends on what kind of arrangement you got with the babysitter. But usually somewhere I say within that time frame, somewhere between starting from probably like 5:45, I guess up to like 7 o'clock or something, or 8 o'clock or something. I don't know, but I guess it varies with different people. But the times that's given when he was last seen to his disappearance, that's too close. That's too close. Sarah said she heard it was 9 a.m. Okay, now that makes this even worse. That makes it even worse. 9 a.m. he dropped off. 9:15 he sees playing in the yard. 9:30 he missing. Mm. 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 So again, that's 15-minute increments. 9 o'clock he dropped off, allegedly. 9 o'clock. 9:15 he's seen outside playing. 15 minutes later would be 9:30. 9:30 they calling 911 because he's gone. Now on the outside looking in, one would say that this sounds staged. It sounds staged, but I don't know. I don't know, but if he did get dropped off at 9, the neighbors seen him at 9:15. He was the last one to see him. 9:30, 15 minutes later, the babysitter is calling 911. Something ain't right. So, wow, that don't sound right. That don't sound right at all. We have a very narrow window of when he went missing. The police chief John Fisher, the incident commander for the Northeastern Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council Regional Response Team, told reporter Wednesday morning. Fisher said this was Harris' 5th visit with the babysitter and that it appears he walked out the door on his own. The babysitter was also watching one other child at the time, Fisher said. Now, I'm curious, how old was the other child? Brian, thank you for saying that because, again, these are narrow times. These are narrow times. Too narrow. And this was his only 5th visit. All right, guys, let's go deeper. Hey, Shy Simon, what's going on? Y'all do me a favor, man. We got 47, almost 50 people, man. Y'all like that thumbs up. Apparently, the more y'all hit it, the more people coming in, man. Show your boys love. Hit that thumbs up. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Guys, listen to this. 2 different police dogs picked up Harry's scent. Well, wait a minute, though. Did we just hear in the conference? Somebody asked that question. Let me see, can I rewind this back? And let's hear what her response was when she was asked that question.
We didn't know where he went when he left the house. Checking and rechecking to see if... There was discussion about a footprint. There were obviously, as the investigation moves forward. Right now, we don't have any information as to where he went during that period of time, or what path he might have been traveling.
Do you know how big of the pond was, like in size, length? You said it was 5 feet deep.
No, he was in about 5 feet of water. Yeah, yeah.
Right now, nothing appears to be sinister about what happened in terms of how how we got away, how we ended up there. Nothing, no foul play.
Well, obviously, it's very early in the investigation, and to this point, all of our efforts have been focused on locating him. In the days ahead, we will obviously be looking at all of those things. Yes. 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 All right.
So what are the next steps now? You mentioned it's too early to talk about potential criminal charges for the babysitter. What happens today, tomorrow?
We'll continue to have conversations. Obviously, we'll be awaiting information from the medical examiner, although, as I indicated, there was no sign of external trauma. He was clothed in the clothing that he was last seen in. We'll continue to gather information. We will shift our focus from finding him to finding out what happened. Thank you. I'm sorry? I'm not certain if they've been up there yet. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Yesterday, did the canvas dogs ever get a scent yesterday?
Did the dogs ever get a scent yesterday? That's what he asked.
My understanding is there were lots of things that they were following at different points. Obviously and tragically, that wasn't successful until this morning. Thank you.
Okay. Obviously, it wasn't successful until this morning. So I think I saw Brian, he said, no, not the prior day, but the second day, I guess they led him, the dogs led them to his scent. But see, even that sounds strange. Even that sounds a little strange. Because on the outside looking in again, it almost sounds like the dogs didn't pick up his scent at first. They was picking up other scents. But the next day they came out, they picked up his scent. So it would kind of seem like that his body was placed there sometime, maybe throughout the night or possibly that morning. It would seem like it now. Just a theory. It may seem like his body was placed there. Because, again, they picked up everything except for him the day prior. But the next day, they got his scent right on track. Now, I'm not a cadaver dog expert, but I don't know. I heard them thing got some damn good nose. And if you, well, I don't know if they had anything to catch his scent on the day prior. But they said the cadaver dog nose is damn good. So I'm kind of thrown off on that. And that's what I'm thinking, Steven. How you doing, brother? That's what I promise you, the more I read into the story, it sounds like he was placed. I promise you. Because their water 5 foot deep. Let's see. His body may be light, so I don't know, man. I don't know. This is weird. It sounds a little weird to me. Well, Sarah said it's 2 separate types of dogs. Brian said if someone placed a baby there, it would be no scent. And I don't know. This is weird. This is weird. Juju, you have my email, baby? I think you do. Send that to me. And Brian, I'm glad you said that because here's what I'm thinking. And maybe I'm just sadistic when I say this. Whoever, let's just say somebody did place him there. Let's just say we right on the money that somebody did place him there. Could they possibly carry this little body and rub this body against stuff on purpose so the dogs can catch it? Excuse me. whoever, let's just think about this for a minute. And again, maybe just a sadistic side of me. I don't know. But let's just say somebody did place him there. They took his body and purposely rubbed it against things that would lead the dogs to that exact area. Or like you just said, Brian, that was going to be my next thing. Could they have dragged his body purposely so the dogs could catch the scent? Because here's my thing here. They know the police going to keep coming to their house. So the first day, they didn't find nothing. So maybe they like, okay, they going to keep coming back out here. So we got to get rid of this body. I know what to do. They went to the pond the first time. All right, they didn't catch nothing. We need to make a scent trail for them to catch it. And it could be possible what had happened. I'm just saying, just a theory. Don't know, just a theory. Just a theory. Because again, I still find it odd. Y'all went to the pond at first. Y'all didn't see nothing. But y'all found her right on the spot on the second day. Now again, that sounds weird. But I'm going to say it again. It could be something or it could be nothing. But I know one thing. I just find it hard to believe that boy just walked off and went into that water. I refuse to believe that unless they come out with hard, concrete evidence that says that's exactly what he did. Unless they got evidence that said this was a tragic accident, the boy just wandered off on his own and he kept walking until he fell in that water. I'll believe it then. But right now, I'm not buying this, that there's nothing sinister going on. I wish they didn't say that. They say they haven't got that far yet. But I'm entitled to believe, I believe this boy was placed there. I'm sorry, I do. I promise I feel like he's been placed there. That's what I'm saying, Brian. Maybe it's a possibility that that's probably what they did, to leave a scent trail. They purposely dragged his body to leave a scent trail. Juju, thank you, dear, but it's not letting me click the link right there. So here's my email right here. It's not letting me click the link in the PayPal. So they're gonna be email right there, dear. Send it there because it's not letting me click it. Well, never mind, Juju. Somebody sent it to me. Somebody sent it to me. It look like they sent it to me the same time that you tried to send it to me. All right. Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. Good deal. All right. So to continue with this, what I'm saying right here. 2 different police dogs picked up Harry's scent. 2 different. 2. Both headed in the same direction towards the woods behind the house. So there's woods behind the house. Okay. I don't know too many children who go walk off in the woods by themselves. But, I'm telling y'all, the more I read this story, man, the more this shit just sound awkward. the more I read it, the more it sounds awkward. Police do not suspect foul play and were treating it as a search for a lost child. Fisher said they started the search at the home and expanded it out in all directions Wednesday into a nearby state forest at Tingsboro. Tingsboro? What the hell? Okay. About 200 people were involved, and Fisher added that the FBI's Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team offered to help as well. About 180 officers from several police departments searched the entire area all day Tuesday. People who lived in the neighborhood were also asked to check their surveillance video, doorbell cameras, property, and cars. Ryan said her department would now shift its focus from finding Harry to finding out what happened.
Under of pair eyewear.
Now, let me show y'all something. Let me show you something. This is the area where that pond at. This is the area. Now, again, this is a lot of terrain for a 3-year-old to get to. That's a lot of terrain out there. Now, there is a house right here. I don't know whose it is, but they go a house right there. I'm guessing that's the guy's house who own it, this farmland or whatnot. But that is a big area right there. Now, they got this right here, so I'm assuming this is where they found this body at, up in this area right here. All right. That's a big-ass pond. That's a big pond. All right. Now, I don't think that boy walked that far and did all that. I don't think he did. I don't think he did. But, you know, with a lot of these stories, anything is possible. Anything is possible, but I just don't see it. I don't see that. That is large and huge. That is a huge area. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. All right.
can I help you?
We'd like to buy 8,000 wind.
We're going to hear what the father had to say. He was at the vigil. And he had spoken. And I would love to hear what he has to say. Got to get past his ad first, though.
It's heartbreaking. It's not easy.
A father searching for the words to describe his pain 2 days after his little boy died in a tragic accident. For the first time tonight, we are hearing from the parents of little Harry Kkonde. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Lisa Hughes.
And I'm David Wade. The 3-year-old was found dead after wandering away from his babysitter's house in Lowell. Louisa Moeller is live for us in Lowell tonight. Louisa, we learned a little bit more tonight about how that little boy got away.
David, Lisa, Harry Kkonde's father says that he was told the babysitter accidentally left the door open to her home, and that's how Harry got out. She had been watching him for the last 30 days, and now he says, feels ill because of what happened. Somehow in the middle of his grief and suffering, Sam Kkonde was able to walk up these stairs to Lowell City Hall behind me and address a crowd, thanking them for caring about his son.
He was told, pin marked it, that's what he was told, that his child, that she accidentally left the door unlocked and the child got out the door. That's what he was told. But here's my question. Does he believe it? That's my question right there. Do he believe it?
But I know 3 years of my life, I knew him in and out. When they told me, when I went to the pond, I went and did a small prayer. I said, God, I'll leave this to you. But one day I'll meet him again.
With grace in his grief, Sam Kkonde spoke
Damn,
of a
I feel
time
bad
when
for
he'll
him,
see
man.
his smiling toddler again.
I want to thank the city of Lowell. I want to thank the police.
It was with the same strength, the same poise, that Kkonde addressed a crowd at Lowell City Hall.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to stop there, but I feel for him. I really feel for him because a lot of times we do these stories, we see these people put on the front like they so distraught. We hear these people put on the front, all right? And it's usually a lot of times it's the women. They come on these cameras and just put on the front all kind of fake ass tears or no tears at all. I.e. example, Brittany Bowens, Linnea Caldwell, what's that girl name? Malia Bass' mama. And her boyfriend, he just get the Oscar Award of the year for Malia Bass. He put on the front, Mr. ABC at 123, him. Whatever his name, Travion Thompson, that's his name. Sahara, Malia Bass' mama. Y'all see, we saw all these different stories that these people put on to act in front of the camera. You know, we seen them do that. What Mr. ABC 123 did, you know, I was there. She was AB3, 123. I'm like, boy. But then kind of find out later they was the one who did it. Him, you can hear the hurt in his voice. You can hear the heartbreak in his voice. This man's child was only going to this babysitter for 30 days. And they said this was the 5th time he went to the house. And after the 5th time, he no longer sees his child again. He's hurt. Right, the real AK. What's up, brother? Exactly. The guilty ones always put on a performance. And to this day, I still don't see how the hell Brittany Bowens is not in trouble for Malia Davis. I cannot see that. I don't know how she's not in trouble. Because that girl knows she put on a stunt.
his tearful 7-month pregnant wife, Harriet, by his side.
This is very painful. It's heartbreaking.
Just days ago, the community of Lowell came together, searching miles for 3-year-old Harry Kkonde, who had gone missing from his babysitter's house. But their collective hope was dashed when the little boy's body was found in shallow water at a nearby pond more than 24 hours later.
The only way you can survive this kind of grief is to have the weight of it distributed over hundreds of shoulders.
Now Lowell is doing their best to lift this family up with candles, with precious pictures of Harry. Kkonde says his pain is deep, but in it, there is gratitude.
The police, the FBI, and everyone. I mean, I do appreciate you guys.
And a promise of brighter days to come.
I want to keep my son in my prayers. I know one day I'll meet him again.
Sam Kkonde says his wife is also ill with grief. She fainted earlier today and was hospitalized. And once again, the family is asking the Lowell community to come together to help with Harry's burial costs. Live in Lowell, Louisa Moeller, WBZ News.
Continues to climb. Congress has now hit a roadblock in the gun.
All right. That was, we heard from the father. He appears to be heartbroken. He's hurt and upset, and which is he's supposed to. All right. So again, I want y'all to keep in mind who's listening to this story. Keep in mind, he said that's what he was told, that the door was unlocked and his child got out. That was he was told. Now, do he believe it? I don't know. I don't know what if he believe it or not. But that's what he was told. So this is another story. We have to just wait and find out what really happened. If it was a tragic incident, then, you know, hey, man, sorry that happened to the young man. But something to tell me, it's more to it than what the surface is telling us. There's way more to it. But however, though, for what we're hearing, if the neighbor was the last one to see him versus the babysitter, then negligence is going to play a part. At least it should be. Negligence is going to play a part, a major part. Now, unless, because this could be possible too. Unless the dad is putting on the front and he has something to do with it. But I don't fear that right now. I don't feel he had nothing to do with it. But if he does, I'll be shocked. In which I shouldn't be, but I will be shocked. But I don't think he had nothing to do with it. But I do have a question. How old was the other child that they was watching? And how long the other child had been going to them? And if it comes out the other child is about the same age, then I'll have to ask the question then, how did Harry is the one that went out the door, but the other child didn't? I had to ask that question. Harry, the only one that went out that door, found out the door was unlocked. He's the only one that chose to go out that door. but the other one didn't. And as a matter of fact, let's go further than that. If the other child is able to talk and saw Harry go out their door, you probably think they would tell the baby, say, hey, Harry went out the door. Harry went out the door. But I guess that all depends on how old the child is. So again, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to stuff like this, man, we have to do our background checks. We got to do how long this person been doing babysitting. Had they had any history of abusing children? Had they have any history of neglect when they watch children? You know, we have to do background checks. We do. I don't know if his dad and the mom did a background check. I don't know. I don't know. But we have to be careful who we're leaving our children with. The real AK, that too. There could be a possibility too the child would have followed. But I would like to know how old that child was and how long the babysitter been watching that child. Because I'm sorry. That picture I show y'all where the pond was, nothing you can tell me make me believe that that boy walked way over there. Even if it is 650 feet, nothing you can tell me gonna make me believe he walked way over there in that big open terrain. Nothing. I just don't believe it. I don't. I just don't. Juju, that's what I'm thinking. He would be scared. He would be scared, especially if he's not familiar with that area. But again, we talked about this earlier. Some of y'all say in the chat room, maybe he been walked back there a couple of times and maybe he's familiar with it. But still, even with that though, I just don't believe that boy walked back there on his own. I don't believe it. I refuse to believe it unless the proof come out that he did. I just refuse to believe it. Because I, for one, believe children just don't disappear. Children just don't disappear. Majority of the time, people make them disappear. And in my heart and soul, I believe that's what happened right here. Somebody made him disappear. He didn't disappear on his own. Somebody made him disappear. And he's no longer with us right now. Guys, y'all, please look after your children and watch who you leaving them with. Please, look after your children. Keep them safe. And do your background checks of who you leave them with. Do your background check. Y'all take care of yourself and each other. As always, I love y'all. I may come back and do another one because I see my favorite sheriff done caught some more idiots out here. Sheriff Grady Judd had caught some more idiots.
With IXL, not only does Charlie get extra math,
How much does it cost to have my HVAC checked?
How do I know I have mold?
I can't do this because I gotta register to read this. So, but somebody sent me something, and it said that he was dropped off at 7 o'clock. He has multiple GoFundMe pages. First responders currently had no idea how Harry came to reach that pond. His body was found near the shore wearing the clothes he was last seen in. The GoFundMe has reached $9,000. A co-worker of Harry Kkonde aunt has also started a GoFundMe to assist the family in paying for the child's funeral. So there's 2 GoFundMes. All right. All right. All right. All right. Y'all know how I feel about them GoFundMe, especially with this multiple ones up. Yeah, y'all know how I feel about it. So, but I ain't gonna even say nothing. But y'all know how I feel about it. Y'all just be on the lookout. If I go back live tonight, y'all see me tonight, or I don't know, but I know Sheriff Grady Judd has caught some idiots out here. As a matter of fact, I might will just go back live, and so I can hear what Grady Judd had to say about these freaks out here. So I just tell you what, just be on the lookout for my next live. I'm gonna set it up real quick, and I'll be right back. Anyway, as always, I love y'all. Thank y'all. Thank you for the donation from Juju. Thank you so much. If you want to support the platform, well, I ain't even got my links, so I'll probably put it in this chat room. But y'all be careful out there, and I'll see y'all in a little bit. All right, your man Chris Thorns. Peace out.